Hello, in this video I will explain how to remove rear shock absorber from the DKW RT 200 or 250. Now this model is a 200. I will also show you how to remove several other parts. Now this vehicle is in the middle of restoration, so I cannot remove any of these parts. This vehicle is not mine. I have just bought it so that I can make this video. I will try to explain as best I can. So if you want to remove the seat, there are two bolts here and here. After removing those two bolts, the complete seat will go up and you can completely remove it. To remove the tank is also quite easy. You have one bolt here, the second one is here, and you can remove the complete tank. Now the engine is holding on several bolts. One is here, the second one is just below that one, and there's also two bolts. One is here and one is here. Once when you remove all other parts from the frame, you have only those four bolts and you can remove the engine. But this video is mainly for the removing the rear shock absorber. So if you want to remove rear shock absorber, first what you need to do is to unscrew this special nut, and after that you need to unscrew this main axle, which will release this aluminium part. After removing this aluminium part, the entire wheel will go down. Now the problem with this model is that once when you remove the wheel, it will not go easy out, because the rear shock absorber, the rear mudguard, is in one piece, so you will need to lift up a little bit complete frame to be able to take it out. After you remove a wheel, you will need to remove these 5 bolts that are in this aluminium part. You have one here, one here, one is here, one is in the middle of the chain guard, and one is at the bottom. So after you remove complete wheel, you remove those 5 bolts and remove this aluminium part. So this is that aluminium part. It is in two. It is connected. It is built from 2 pieces. So you will remove this one. The second part will stay installed on the right shock absorber. So to remove this part, you need to remove this bolt, which is from the, so to be able to remove this rear brake, this rod for rear brake, the rod is connected to this part here, which is this rear brake. Now on this vehicle the chain guard is missing, so you need to remove the chain guard. Unfortunately, to remove this chain guard is quite complicated. You need to remove this aluminium part. You have 2 bolts, one is here, the second is here. After removing this aluminium part, somewhere here where the chain guard, there is a one bolt somewhere in the middle. You need to remove that bolt from the chain guard, and after removing this aluminum part, the chain guard will be separated in two pieces. So you will have this left piece and the right piece. So you will be able to remove this left piece. Now the right piece will be still on the engine. Now you will need to also remove this second special bolt and nut and push this part to the engine so that the chain will be loosed. Now you will need to remove the chain. After removing the chain, you will need to remove this bolt and this there is also one rubber here, this rubber and this bolt and the chain gear. So after that you will come to this part here. Now this is a safety ring, and that safety ring is holding the other part of the chain guard for not moving. After you remove this safety ring, now the second part of the chain guard can be removed from the frame, and after you move that second part of the aluminum from the chain guard, now you can remove this bolt here. After that, this entire aluminum part will go down, and now you can remove rear mudguard if you want. The rear mudguard have one bolt that is here. It's inside, and there is also second one is here. Now this maybe you can see it because it is dark, but you have one and the second bolt that are connected to this part of the frame, and you have one bolt from this side and one bolt here. After that you can completely remove the mudguard. You can also do that after you remove the rear wheel, it depending of what do you need to do. Do you just need to repair the rear shock absorber, or you are disassembling the vehicle? That depends on what you need to do on this vehicle that you are repairing or restoring. Okay, so after all of that disassembling, now you have left and right shock absorber completely clean, and now you can remove them. But before that you will also need to remove this bolt here, and now this bolt is connecting this exhaust pipe, so you will have to remove it also. If you are repairing the left shock absorber, then you don't need to do this. The same thing is on the other side. You have second bolt here, and after that all of this the bolts are removed, and now you can proceed to removing the shock absorber. Now up here you have something like it is some sort of cover, but it is let's call it a axle. Now this, it is like pipe. This part goes from up here all the way to down here. So if you can put your fingers and you can feel the differences in between the way this. So you can see this part here, that is that axle. Now that axle goes all the way through this shock absorber. So when you remove these two bolts, the shock absorber can be removed. This axle can be removed, so you need to pull up this axle. Now you need to be very careful because the shock absorber is loaded, so the springs are not completely released. There is some small force, so you need to be careful when you are pulling this up, so that the shock absorber stays on the place, because if you accidentally hit it, it can pop out and it can hurt you, or something can hit you, because this aluminium part and this aluminium part will separate, so this part could easily hit you. So you need to be careful when you are removing that shock absorber. So after you remove this axle that goes through the shock absorber, you can hold it with your hands very tight and push this part back, and if the shock absorber pop out, it will go down, so you will hold this part, so this part will not be able to hit you. So the same thing is here. After you remove this bolt here and this bolt down, you need to remove this main axle for the shock absorber and pull shock absorber from the frame. So that's it. The shock absorber have this aluminium part here, and this one here, and inside is one spring, and there is also one aluminium cup here, and the second spring is right here inside. So this one is a main spring and this one is a second spring, so this one is much powerful than this one. And you have only this 1, 2, 3 aluminium, I will say, cup, and this main body and 2 springs and the axle. So this is the restoration of the rear shock absorber. Is very simple. You just separate those parts and clean them. Now this main axle in one position is this there is a cut part that for this bolt, so when you are assembling this part, when you install the shock absorber and you are putting this main axle, you need to be careful that you line up that part that is cut out, so that is looking back. So once when you install this part, this bolt will go through that cut out part. Unfortunately, I couldn't do any better video because I cannot remove any of these parts, so it will be much easier to understand. So this is it. This is the best how I can explain this. So see you in some next video.